Dr. He stared at the golden spindle floating in the containment field. The object spun slowly, catching the blue-white laboratory lights and throwing sparkles across the walls. She had found it 3 days ago in the ruins on Morpheus 7, and she still couldn't believe what her instruments were telling her. The energy readings match human brain waves during sleep, she said to herself, making another note in her research log. The small device on her desk showed wave patterns that perfectly matched those of sleeping humans. It was impossible, yet there it was, spinning and glowing with a soft golden light. The door to her lab slid open with a gentle hiss. Dr. Tadwan walked in, carrying 2 cups of coffee. His usually neat black hair was messy, and dark circles showed under his eyes. He had been working just as hard as He since they brought the artifact back to the research station. "You need to sleep sometime," he said, placing one of the cups next to her. "Even dream researchers need rest." He took a sip of the coffee and smiled. "How can I sleep when we've made the biggest discovery in human history? This isn't just an alien artifact, Tadwan. It's something more." She walked to the large window that looked out over the purple plains of Morpheus 7. The planet's 3 moons hung in the dark sky, creating strange shadows on the ground below. In the distance, the ruins of an ancient city stretched toward the horizon. They had found the spindle in those ruins, buried deep in what looked like a temple. "Look at these markings," He said, pointing to the holographic display showing close-up images of the spindle. "They're exactly like the symbols we found in the temple. But here's the strange part. They also match ancient Greek writing from Earth." Taiwan moved closer to look at the images. "That's impossible. How could Greek writing end up on a planet 30 light-years from Earth? Unless..." He paused, wondering if she should share her crazy theory. "Unless the Greek gods weren't gods at all. What if they were visitors? Advanced aliens who came to Earth thousands of years ago?" Before Taiwan could answer, one of their monitoring devices started beeping. The spindle's energy readings were changing. The golden light grew stronger, and the spinning got faster. "Quick, check the containment field." He rushed to her computer, fingers flying over the keyboard. Numbers and graphs flashed across her screen. "The energy output is doubling, tripling." "He, look." Tadwan pointed at the spindle. The golden light had formed patterns in the air, like strands of glowing thread. These threads began to weave themselves together, creating images. They saw a woman in golden robes walking through what looked like a grand palace. The scene was like a dream, with edges that weren't quite solid. The woman turned, and for a moment, she seemed to look right at them. Her eyes were filled with stars. The image disappeared as quickly as it had formed. The spindle slowed its spinning, and the golden light faded back to its usual soft glow. He and Taiwan looked at each other in amazement. "Did you see that?" He whispered. "Did you see her eyes?" Taiwan nodded slowly. "We need to call the research board now." But He wasn't listening. She was looking at her computer screen, where new data was appearing. The energy patterns had changed. Now they matched human brain waves during dreaming even more closely than before. "Wait," she said, holding up her hand. "Before we call anyone, I want to try something." She walked to her desk and pulled out an old book, a collection of Greek myths she'd had since she was a child. She opened it to a page showing a painting of Hera, queen of the Greek gods. The woman in the painting wore golden robes, just like the figure they had seen in the spindle's light. But there was something else, something He had never noticed before. In this ancient painting, Hera's eyes were filled with tiny dots, dots that looked just like stars. "Taiwan," she said slowly, "I don't think we should call the research board yet. I think we need to understand what we're dealing with first." She picked up her coffee cup and took another sip. It had gone cold. That night, as the 3 moons of Morpheus 7 crossed the sky, He couldn't sleep. She sat in her lab, watching the spindle spin slowly in its containment field. The soft golden light seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. She thought about all the stories she had read about Hera, how she was the queen of the gods, protector of dreamers, guardian of sleep. What if those weren't just stories? What if they were memories, passed down through thousands of years? Her computer beeped again. New energy readings were coming from the spindle. But this time, something was different. The patterns matched perfectly with He-Jin's own brainwaves. The spindle was resonating with her thoughts. As she watched, the golden threads appeared again, weaving themselves into images. But these weren't random scenes. They were her own memories, her own dreams, playing out in the golden light. She saw herself as a child, reading that book of Greek myths under her blanket with a flashlight. She saw herself in university, studying sleep patterns and brainwaves. She saw herself here, on Morpheus 7, the day she found the spindle. The images faded, but the golden light remained. He-Jin looked at her computer screen. The spindle's energy patterns were now perfectly synchronized with her brainwaves. It wasn't just measuring them, it was connecting with them. She reached for her communicator to call Taiwan, then stopped. Dawn was breaking outside, painting the purple plains in shades of gold and pink. In a few hours, the research station would be busy with people going about their daily work. But for now, in these quiet moments between night and day, He-Jin had made a discovery that would change everything they thought they knew about gods, dreams, and the history of humanity itself. She looked at the spindle one last time before leaving the lab. As she turned off the lights, she could have sworn she saw a face in the golden glow, a face with eyes full of stars, and a smile that seemed to hold all the secrets of the universe. Tomorrow, she would tell Taiwan everything. Tomorrow, they would begin to unravel those secrets. But for now, He-Jin needed to sleep, and for the first time in days, she wasn't afraid of what she might dream. As she walked to her quarters, the spindle continued its slow dance in the darkness of the lab, its golden light painting shadows on the walls. And somewhere, in the space between sleeping and waking, between myth and reality, something ancient stirred and it opened its star-filled eyes. The first part of a much larger story had begun. The morning after He-Jin's late-night discovery, strange reports began coming in from across human space. Captain Sunmi of the research vessel Hypnos sat at her command desk, reading message after message on her screen. Her usually calm face showed worry as she called her communications officer. "Lieutenant Do-hyun, come look at these reports," she said, waving him over. "People on 12 different colonies are having the same dream, all on the same night." Do-hyun walked to her desk, his footsteps echoing in the quiet bridge of the ship. He was young for his position, but Captain Sunmi trusted his judgment. He looked at the screen and frowned. "A woman in golden robes," he read aloud, "with eyes full of stars, walking through a great hall made of clouds and light." He looked at his captain. "This is impossible. How can thousands of people have the exact same dream?" Before Sunmi could answer, her communication screen lit up with an urgent message from Morpheus 7. It was He-Jin. "Captain." He-Jin's face appeared on the screen. She looked excited and scared at the same time. "Something has happened with the artifact. Something amazing." She held up her tablet, showing readings from the spindle. "The energy output has increased by 1,000%. And look at this pattern." The pattern on her screen matched exactly with the brainwave patterns of all the dreamers who had seen the woman in gold. "We need to talk," Sunmi said. "In person." The Hypnos can reach Morpheus 7 in 6 hours. While they waited for the ship to arrive, He-Jin and Taiwan worked in their lab. The spindle was spinning faster now, its golden light filling the room. The images it created were clearer, showing scenes from ancient Earth, temples, ceremonies, and always the woman in gold. "Look at this," Taiwan said, pointing to his screen. "I've been comparing the spindle's energy signature with old Earth satellites. There are traces of the same energy around every ancient Greek temple site. Weak, but still there after thousands of years." He-Jin nodded. She had been reading more about Hera, the queen of the Greek gods. In the old stories, Hera was the guardian of sleep and dreams. People would go to her temples when they needed help with bad dreams. She looked at the spindle. What if those weren't just stories? The Hypnos arrived just as the 3 moons of Morpheus 7 were rising. Captain Sunmai and Lieutenant Do-hyun came straight to the lab. They stopped in the doorway, staring at the spinning artifact and its golden light. "It's beautiful," Sunmai whispered. Then she shook her head and got back to business. "We've had more reports. The dreams are spreading. Not just humans now. The AI networks are picking up strange patterns too. They say it feels like someone is trying to wake up." As if responding to her words, the spindle suddenly spun faster. The golden light grew brighter, filling the room. Images formed in the air, not memories this time, but something new. They saw a great hall made of light and shadow. 12 thrones sat in a circle, 11 of them empty. On the 12th throne sat the woman they had all seen in dreams, her golden robes flowing like liquid light, her eyes filled with stars. She spoke, and her voice was like music and thunder together. "My children," she said, looking at each of them, "I am Hera, not the goddess of your myths, but something both more and less than that. I am a guardian, a protector, and I have been sleeping for a very long time." The humans stood frozen, watching as Hera rose from her throne. "Long ago," she continued, "my kind came to Earth. We found your species, young and dreaming such beautiful dreams. My brothers and sisters saw those dreams as food, as power to be taken. But she smiled, and it was like watching a star being born. I saw them as poetry." The image flickered. Hera's face showed worry. "They are waking now, my brothers and sisters. They feel the power of human dreams again, stronger than ever before. They will come, hungry after their long sleep." She looked directly at He-jin. "You found my spindle. You woke me from my guard sleep. Now you must help me protect humanity's dreams." The golden light faded. The spindle slowed its spinning. In the sudden darkness, the humans looked at each other with wide eyes. "Well," Captain Sunmai said after a long silence, "I guess we know why all those people had the same dream." He-jin walked to the spindle, her hand reaching out but not quite touching the containment field. "She's been protecting us," she said softly. "All this time, while we thought they were just stories, she's been protecting our dreams." Do-hyun checked his tablet. "New reports coming in. The shared dreams have stopped, but people are reporting feeling different, like they're more awake than they've ever been." Taiwan was already working at his computer. The spindle's energy signature has changed again. It's not just matching human brain waves now, it's amplifying them. Whatever Hera did, she made our dreams stronger. "But why?" Sunmai asked. "Why make our dreams stronger if her siblings are waking up? Wouldn't that just attract them more?" He-jin smiled as understanding dawned. "Because we're not just food anymore. We've evolved. Our dreams have evolved. She's not just protecting us. She's helping us protect ourselves." The spindle pulsed once, as if agreeing. In that pulse, they all felt it. A connection to something vast and ancient, a power that had always been within humanity, but had never been fully awakened. Until now. As night fell on Morpheus 7, billions of humans across the galaxy went to sleep. But their dreams were different now. Stronger. More real. And in those dreams, many saw a woman with star-filled eyes, teaching them how to weave their dreams into shields and weapons. The age of sleeping gods was ending. The age of awakened humanity was about to begin. And in her lab on Morpheus 7, He-jin watched the spindle spin and knew that tomorrow would bring challenges none of them could imagine. But for now, she had work to do. There were dreams to study, powers to understand, and a goddess who needed their help as much as they needed hers. The second part of the story was complete, but the real adventure was just beginning. 3 days after Hera's appearance, He-jin sat in a room full of the most important scientists and leaders from across human space. The spindle floated in its containment field at the center of the room, its golden light casting warm shadows on worried faces. "Tell us everything again," said the head of the Science Council, an older woman named Director Bora. "From the beginning." He-Jin stood up, feeling all eyes on her. Tai-Wan gave her an encouraging nod from his seat. She took a deep breath and began to speak. "The beings we once called Greek gods were actually advanced aliens," she said, pointing to the images on the large screen behind her. "They came to Earth thousands of years ago. They found humans, a young species with incredibly active minds during sleep. Our dreams were like nothing they had ever seen before." She clicked to the next image, showing ancient cave paintings of people sleeping while strange figures stood over them. "These beings could enter our dreams, shape them, and draw power from them. Most of them saw humans as nothing more than food, living batteries to power their technology and extend their lives." The spindle pulsed, as if responding to her words. He-Jin continued, "But Hera was different. She saw something special in human dreams. She saw that we weren't just creating random images in our sleep. We were processing information, healing ourselves, growing stronger." Captain Sunma stepped forward. "We've confirmed this through the dream reports from across human space. When people sleep now, they're not just dreaming. They're remembering things they never knew they knew. Ancient memories, passed down through generations." "Exactly," He-Jin said. She showed the next image, a diagram of human brain waves during sleep. "Hera didn't just watch our dreams. She protected them. She added something to them, a kind of shield that her siblings couldn't break through. And then she went into a deep sleep herself, using her own power to maintain that protection." Director Bora leaned forward. "And now her siblings are waking up. How many are there?" 11, Ta-Wan answered, standing up to join He-Jin. "We saw their empty thrones in Hera's message. Zeus, Poseidon, Athena, Ares, Apollo, Artemis, Aphrodite, Hephaestus, Hermes, Dionysus, and Demeter. Each one controlled a different aspect of human consciousness." Lieutenant Do-hyun, who had been quietly working at his computer, suddenly called out, "We're getting new readings. Something's happening with the spindle." Everyone turned to look. The golden light was growing stronger, forming images in the air. But these weren't the clear, beautiful pictures they had seen before. These were dark, strange shapes that made people feel uncomfortable just by looking at them. "They're searching." Hera's voice filled the room, though they couldn't see her clearly this time. "My siblings reach out through the dream spaces, testing the barriers I built. They feel how strong human dreams have become. They hunger for that power." He-Jin stepped closer to the spindle. "How long do we have?" "Days, perhaps," Hera answered. "They sleep in different places, temples, mountains, deep under the seas. As each one wakes, they will be drawn to the strongest source of dream energy." "Which is where?" Director Bora asked, though her face showed she already knew the answer. "Here," He-Jin said. "Morpheus 7. The spindle is acting like a beacon, drawing dream energy from across human space. That's why Hera hid it here in the first place." The dark shapes in the air grew more solid. They could see figures now, huge, powerful beings with eyes that burned like suns. The 11 empty thrones were no longer empty. "But we're not defenseless," He-Jin said quickly, turning to face the council. "Hera didn't just protect our dreams. She helped them evolve. For thousands of years, human dreams have been getting stronger, more complex. We've been learning, growing, even when we didn't know it." Tai-Wan pulled up new data on the screen. "Look at these readings. When humans dream now, they're not just creating random images. They're connecting with each other, sharing information across space. It's like we've built our own dream network, stronger than anything the gods ever had." The dark shapes disappeared. The spindle's light returned to its normal golden glow. But everyone in the room could feel that something had changed. The air felt heavier, like the moment before a storm. "We need to prepare," Captain Sunmai said, taking charge. "How do we fight gods in our dreams?" He-Jin smiled. "We already are. Every night, more humans are learning to control their dreams, to shape them, to use them as tools and weapons. Hera's been teaching us, preparing us for this moment." She walked around the room, looking at each person. "The gods thought we were just food, just batteries to power their immortal lives. But we became something more. Our dreams aren't just dreams anymore. They're our strength, our shield, and now they'll be our sword too." Director Bora stood up. "How many people do we need?" "All of them," He-Jin answered. "Every human who can dream. We need to warn everyone, teach them what to do when they sleep. The gods are powerful, but they've been asleep for thousands of years. We've been growing stronger every night since they left." The spindle pulsed again, and this time they felt warmth, encouragement, pride. Hera might not have shown herself, but they could feel her presence, supporting them, believing in them. As the council began making plans, He-Jin looked out the window at the purple plains of Morpheus 7. The 3 moons were rising, casting long shadows across the ancient ruins. Somewhere out there, 11 powerful beings were waking up, hungry for the dreams they had left behind. But humanity wasn't the same species they had abandoned all those years ago. They weren't helpless dreamers anymore. They were warriors now, armed with the strongest weapons in the universe, their own minds. The real battle was about to begin, and it would be fought in the space between sleeping and waking, in the realm where dreams became reality and reality became dreams. Part 3 of the story was complete, but the greatest challenge still lay ahead. On the night of the final battle, billions of humans across the galaxy went to sleep at the same time. He-Jin stood in the main control room of the research station on Morpheus 7, watching as the numbers on her screen grew larger and larger. Each number represented a dreaming mind joining the great network they had built. 5 billion dreamers connected, Todd 1 reported from his station. 6 billion. 7 billion. He looked up at He-Jin with amazement in his eyes. "It's working. They're all coming together." The spindle floated in the center of the room, its golden light brighter than ever before. Around it, dozens of scientists and technicians worked at their stations, monitoring the massive dream network that now stretched across human space. Captain Sunmi's voice came through the speakers. The Hypnos was in orbit above the planet, coordinating with other ships that had formed a protective ring around Morpheus 7. "We're detecting massive energy signatures approaching the system. They're coming." He-Jin nodded. They had known this moment would come. For the past week, they had prepared everyone they could reach. Every human who could dream had learned how to join their consciousness with others, how to shape their dreams into weapons and shields. "Look," Lieutenant Do-hyun pointed at his screen. "The first one is here." They all watched as something massive appeared in space near the planet. It looked like a storm made of starlight and darkness, with a face that kept changing shapes. Zeus, king of the ancient gods, had arrived first. More beings appeared. Poseidon, like an ocean made of stars. Athena, burning with cold fire. Ares, red as blood and black as space. Apollo and Artemis, twin streams of silver light. One by one, the 11 gods took their places around Morpheus 7. The spindle pulsed, and Hera appeared beside it. She looked more solid now, more real, strengthened by the billions of human minds connected to her network. "My siblings come," she said. "They hunger for your dreams, but they do not understand what you have become." As if in response, Zeus's voice boomed across space and into every dreaming mind. "Little batteries, you have grown strong. Your dreams will feed us for 1,000 years." He-Jin stepped forward. "We are not your batteries anymore," she said, and her voice was carried through the dream network to every sleeping human. "We are not food. We are not weak. We are humanity, and our dreams belong to us." The battle began. The gods struck first, sending waves of power toward the planet. They tried to break into human minds, to take control of dreams like they had done thousands of years ago. But humanity was ready. Billions of dreamers worked together, their minds linked through the network Hera had helped them build. When Zeus tried to enter their dreams, he found not scattered thoughts but a solid wall of human consciousness. When Ares tried to fill their minds with fear, they took that fear and turned it into courage. "They're stronger than we expected," Taiwan said, watching the readings on his screen. "But so are we." The gods attacked again and again, but they couldn't break through. Every time they struck, human dreamers learned more about how to fight back. They learned to shape their dreams into weapons that could hurt even gods. Hajin watched as golden light from the spindle mixed with the natural power of human dreams. Across human space, people dreamed of victory, of freedom, of a future where their minds belonged to themselves alone. Those dreams became real, becoming stronger with each passing moment. "Now," Hera said, "while they are confused, strike now." Hajin gave the signal. Through the dream network, billions of minds focused their power together. They dreamed of light pushing back darkness, of freedom defeating control, of humanity standing strong against those who would use them. The gods weren't ready for such power. They had slept for too long, grown too confident. They didn't understand that human dreams had evolved beyond simple food. Each god fell back as waves of human dream power struck them. Zeus tried one last time to assert his power. "We made you," his voice thundered. "We shaped your dreams." "No," Hajin answered, speaking for all humanity. "We shaped ourselves. Our dreams belong to us now." The final strike came from everywhere at once. Billions of dreamers, their minds united, pushed back against the gods with everything they had. The gods' forms began to break apart, their power scattering across space. "What have you become?" Zeus asked as his form began to fade. "We have become what we were always meant to be," Hajin answered. "Not batteries, not food, but dreamers who shape our own destiny." One by one, the gods disappeared, their power broken by the united dreams of humanity. Not destroyed. Gods couldn't be destroyed, but changed, transformed into something new. Their power spread across human space, becoming part of the dream network itself. As the last god faded away, Hera turned to Hajin and smiled. "My work is done," she said. "I protected your dreams until you were strong enough to protect yourselves. Now you don't need a guardian anymore." "Will you leave too?" Hajin asked. Hera looked at the spindle, still glowing with golden light. "No," she said. "I think I'll stay, if you'll have me. Not as a god or a guardian, but as a friend. There's still so much to learn about dreams, so much potential to explore." The sun rose over Morpheus 7, its light mixing with the golden glow of the spindle. Across human space, people woke up remembering not just their own dreams, but the great battle they had fought together. They remembered how it felt to be connected, to be part of something larger than themselves. They had faced gods and won. But more importantly, they had discovered something about themselves, that their dreams were not just random thoughts in the night, but a power that could shape reality itself. Hajin looked at the spindle, now pulsing softly in time with the collective heartbeat of humanity. The age of gods was over. The age of human dreamers had begun. And somewhere in the space between sleeping and waking, billions of minds dreamed together of what they might become next. The story was complete, but for humanity, it was just the beginning.